Wat op 100 meter of 50 op 51.
50? 51.
Ja, het heeft gewoon aan. Dat is wel los.
I don't know. I just went out in the garage and I saw this going on. Like,
I was sleeping, had to wake up. Why? Every reason I could.
What's up, YouTube? Today, we'll be looking at disturbing TikToks that'll make you question reality. So without further ado, welcome to Adam Strain Reacts. Let's get her done.
Since World War II, there's only been 7 countries that did not have a controlled central banking. Now, if you take a look at the names on that list, you will notice they all have something similar or in common. After World War II, the United States has been to war with all of them. And I can't put my finger on it, but I just know there has to be some reason for that.
The Festival of Exploding Hammers has been going on for over 300 years in the town of San Juan de la Vega. And here's the thing. Yes, people get injured. There's been many calls for them to stop it. But look, if that's how I go, that's how I go.
It's the largest accumulation of tracks in the world. So first, we started with one area, and then later on, we found that these led into another area, and you could connect them all, and eventually we ended up with 9 different areas that are more or less all connected physically.
What do you guys think about that? I truly have a hard time with everything that's dinosaurs. I'm going to put in the next video. I don't think we've been through this, but the people, they call it the Bone Wars, which was 2 people that were in a competition, and basically they found like 95% of all the dinosaur bones. But as for the tracks, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think that these are original tracks from dinosaurs, or can they be like more or less anything? And if they were tracks from dinosaurs, how come we haven't came across them before if they were just on the surface? So let me know down below what you guys think. I'd be very curious to see your opinion, and let's keep on rocking.
I thought that the French protests were unhinged before, but this might be the single most hilarious way of protesting I've ever seen. As we all know, Paris is hosting the Summer Olympics, but a lot of French people aren't very happy about that. Because, and I only found out about this today, the Olympics is kind of a scam when it comes to a country actually making money. Don't get me wrong, it's great for global street cred, but for example, when China hosted it, they made a net loss of 36.4 billion, and London made a net loss of 13 billion, and that's all taxpayer money. So when the public heard that France has already spent over 5 billion, and then that Macron wanted to spend another billion just to clean up the Seine River so it looks good for the Olympics, they lost it, and the I shit in the Seine River protest began. On the 23rd of June, the French President Macron and the Paris mayor plan to take a ceremonial swim in the river to show off just how clean it is. So the protesters are now planning a defecation flash mob because, and I quote, after putting us in shit, it's up to them to bathe in our shit. Oh, and if you don't live in Paris, no bloody problem, because someone created this website. You type in how many kilometers you are away from Paris, and using a water flow algorithm, it will tell you precisely the day and the exact time you need to shit into the river to reach Paris at the time Macron will be swimming in it. Oh, I told you, and that is why I say, quick.
Wow, I have never seen any type of protest in that way. But man, is that interesting. And also, I never came across any information as towards the loss of money of the countries that are hosting the Olympics. That's news to me. I always thought that they generated billions of dollars in profit, so I had zero idea. Did you guys know about that below? What do you guys think about that type of protest? I love it, to be honest. And the person that came up with the website to coordinate the poos with the swim. Maybe in the future, you know, world leaders shouldn't disclose their plans too far ahead of time. So let me know what you guys think down below. I really love this idea. Let me know what you think. Let's keep on rocking.
Video showing how big the volcano is under Yellowstone.
Oh, isn't that just horrifying?
Starts with Yellowstone National Park at the top, just for scale.
Yeah, that's...
And then this.
Insane.
Just staggering, and a good reminder that, yeah, if it goes, we're
out. I know.
So gone, so fast.
Oh, well.
Which is the way to go.
Yeah. I definitely would rather it be quick.
What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that the Yellowstone volcano might be about to pop? Is that why everyone's building bunkers underground? But this parallel that I'd like to make is that when you look through history, or even in the past 20 years, or even in the past 100 years, it seems like it's always about to be the end of the world. Sort of like today, no? Like every year is going to be the crash, right? Because we know that we're inflating and we're modifying the numbers so that it fits and that it works. So we're all waiting for the crash. It's always the apocalypse. It's always something that's going to happen, but somehow we're always here and nothing's happening. So is this one of those cases, or is this the exception to the rule? Let me know what you think down below, because I know a lot of people have got Yellowstone very high up in their priorities and have a lot of fear regarding that. So let me know what you guys think down below, and let's keep on rocking.
Four cities.
Wow, I didn't know we were that ahead with the surgery stuff. How would you guys feel if you went in for surgery and you were underneath that robot? Do you guys feel better about that? Taking away the possibility of human error, but would that leave, possibility for machine error or loss of power or any other? I don't know. What do you guys think down below? Would you rather have a human, or would you rather have a machine conducting your operation? I'm very curious. I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Write down below. Now let's keep on rocking.
4 cities that drop street temperatures up to 8 degrees Celsius, some using ancient techniques, others just using paint. Seville, Spain borrowed a 3,000-year-old Persian technique called qanat that uses underground canals to carry cool water and ends up functioning like outdoor air conditioning. The result? Temperatures dropped by 6 to 7 degrees Celsius. Singapore found an even simpler solution, reflective paint. Coating buildings brought temperatures down 2 degrees Celsius during the scorching 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. window. Vienna took the idea to the streets, repainting black asphalt in lighter colors and cutting temperatures by 5 degrees Celsius. But the Spanish sherry town of Jerez de la Frontera went furthest, using grapevines to slash street temperatures by as much as 8 degrees Celsius. They strung green canopies across narrow streets, stealing a trick sherry makers have used for centuries to keep their wineries cool. Sometimes the best ideas are just really, really old, or come in a paint can.
This makes me extremely uncomfortable that I now know that snakes can do this. Could you imagine running up a tree away from one of these things and then you look down and see it doing this? So yes, a new fear has been unlocked. So thank you, Internet. I can always count on you to provide me with unwanted trauma.
Something happened here that will likely never be replicated for as long as the human species exists. This occurred during a baseball game, but even if you're not a sports fan, you will understand this, and you will understand why what happened is just wild. It was August of 1957, and at the plate was a Hall of Fame batter named Richie Ashburn. He swings at a pitch, he fouls it off, and the pitch goes into the stands and hits a fan, injuring her. The fan was named Alice Rock, and the ball hit her so hard that it broke her nose, and they had to stop the game. Like, just imagine the silence falls over the crowd. They stop play, and paramedics had to get her out. She was there with her grandchildren, and get her onto a stretcher, and everyone's watching as they take her away from the stands. So they're hauling her away, covering her bleeding nose, probably taking her into that tunnel right there. They resume play, and on the very next pitch, Richie Ashburn hits another foul ball that flies into the tunnel and hits that woman again while she's on the stretcher being taken out of the stadium. She recovered fully. The two of them, the woman and Richie Ashburn, became friends after this. It was a hugely famous incident. in something that I am confident will never, ever happen again.
Wow. I guess some things are meant to be, you know? Like, what are the odds of you being struck twice? But what's so beautiful about that in life is that somehow, you know, a friendship came out of that. So it's a bad for a good, you know? I guess it's fun sometimes to have stories that have happy endings. Let's keep on rocking.
Today's episode of Random White Acts of Danger, we basically have the most dangerous ski run I've seen in my entire life. Margin for error, you guessed it, death. My boy, left, right, it's over. You see how far down that is? My hand's over here sweating just watching this shit. A little bit to the right, cooked. You splattered down beneath. How do you even get up there? And as you can see, this is the trail not taken. My boy's the first person to ever do some dumbass shit like this. White people, I found your ski leader, but I don't even know who his name is. Look at this. What's happening? He looking back up, shit look like the top of Mount Everest. How the fuck do you even get down? You know what I'm saying? I'm so scared for him. Like, what type of ski training, all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm about to go ski off the top of a mountain. My boy looks like the edge of the world. That even look like it's possible to go down, and that's the way he's going. The amount of skill this chick must take, my legs is tired just watching this shit. Oh my goodness. Man, white people, different breed, man. You guys, so okay, there's some footprints, so he must have hiked up this way, now he skiing all the way down. At least now it's almost like, nope, it's not even a normal ski. Look at all these rocks. My death count, by the way, I'm at least 20. I would have started an avalanche, probably never been found. Look at this shit. Oh my goodness. Nah, bro, how do you get the idea of like, you know, I'm gonna hike all the way up to that mountain, I'm gonna ski down, even though it doesn't look possible to ski down. Why? Because I'm him. The fuck? Statue, he needed.
Mag ik wat vragen? Als ik naar Amsterdam Centraal wil, kan ik dan het beste naar
de metro
de metro, niet de trein pakken?
Nee, de metro, dat is vaak sneller. En dan gewoon de Noord-Zuidlijn.
Ja.
Of die naar Centraal Station.
Als ik naar Centraal Station wil, moet ik dan de metro of de trein nemen?
Je moet er allebei nemen.
Ja.
Maar moet je snel zijn?
Ja. Moet ik de metro of de trein pakken?
Je moet de metro pakken. Volgens mij moet je metro 50 of 51 pakken.
50, 51.
Ja, het geeft gewoon aan. Als je er gewoon loopt, dan zie je de metro.
Ja.
Metro 52.
Klopt het dat je orthotondiepraktijk van Schiedam?
Ja?
Ja? Klopt het dat je Floor heet?
Ja.
Ja. Van Grunsten?
Ja.
Ja. Bent u Helene?
Ja.
Helene Wachters?
Ja, toch?
Van Eden McKellen?
Ja, klopt. Hoezo?
Heet u Wijs?
Ja.
Basharat?
Ja, ja, klopt.
Ja.
Oh, wat ben ik nou wel gespannen?
Of dat u jurist bent?
Ja.
In Venture Capital?
Onder andere, ja.
Ja?
Ja.
Ik heb dus een bril waarmee ik gezichten kan scannen. Ik zie aan je dat je er wel zit.
Nou, inderdaad.
Ja.
Oh ja, ik zie dat ding al inderdaad.
Ja.
Oh, ik zie er ook een lampje aan. Holy shit.
Op die manier informatie te krijgen over mensen.
Ja.
Voelt bij mij nog niet oké.
Ja.
Ik bedoel, het is de tijd van tegenwoordig. Ik bedoel, digitale wereld.
Je verwacht dit gewoon.
Je verwacht het gewoon.
Ja.
Maar voor jou in.
Ja.
That gave me chills because the possibilities with that are pretty endless. Imagine, I don't know, off the top of my head, imagine scammers, imagine police, imagine, due process is gone. You have access to way too much information. Very interesting. It's very interesting. Imagine if you cross-reference with the person's Facebook and they took a picture outside of their house. You now have their address. You now have their family members. I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless with what you could do with that information. As for, let's say, fraud or misappropriating the identity. Very interesting. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that it makes sense that we use AI in this type of fashion? What's the future of this technology? What are the applications that we're not seeing yet, but that might be a problem in 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years? Let me know what you guys think down below, and let's keep on rocking.
In the 1990s, there was a conspiracy theorist with a public access show where he ranted about crazy crackpot theories every single day, and nobody took him seriously. But then after he died, it turned out he was right about everything. In the late 80s and throughout the 1990s, there was a man named Clay Tiffany who had a public access TV show called Dirge of the Charlatans, where he would sit for hours on end and just rant and ramble about all kinds of conspiracy theories about elite government corruption within the city. He would talk about judges laundering money through nonprofits and NYPD officers falsifying to throw people in jail, and members of the NYPD acting as roving and enforcers for the mob. But then something happened to Clay Tiffany. In March of 1997, he was pulled over by an NYPD officer named Nick Tartaglione, who said that he had seen Clay Tiffany's show and wanted him to stop talking about the NYPD, and that he was connected to the mob, and if he didn't shut up, he would have him taken care of. Or at least this is what Tiffany claimed the following day on his show, where he talked about the incident. And as Clay Tiffany claims, the next day after this broadcast, Nick Tartaglione showed up at his house, threw him against his police cruiser, arrested him, and brought him in on some made-up disturbing the peace charge. But Clay Tiffany was not going to be bullied, and he would not give up. So the next several years on his show, he did a full investigation of Nick Tartaglione, sending in a bunch of requests with the Freedom of Information Act to the government to get documents about him. And he dug up a ton of dirt, like multiple police brutality reports, a bunch of excessive force complaints, and unexplained departures from dozens of his previous police jobs. And in response, Clay Tiffany claims that he was attacked and brutalized by Nick Tartaglione and his cop buddies multiple times throughout those years. The first incident, he was attacked outside of his home again. The second incident, he was thrown to the pavement and beaten outside of a town meeting. And the third incident, he was beaten so badly that he was hospitalized for weeks. Tiffany ended up suing Nick Tartaglione. He didn't win, but there was an undisclosed sum settled out of court. But more importantly, he had lost any credibility that he ever possibly had because of these repeat accusations of Nick Tartaglione, and people started actively calling for his public access show to end. So in the early 2000s, that's exactly what happened. The show ended and Clay Tiffany disappeared from public life. And in 2015, he died from heart failure. But in 2016, Nick Tartaglione was arrested for the of 4 men in a drug trafficking job gone wrong. Clay Tiffany was right. Nick Tartaglione was mob connected, he was corrupt, and him and his buddies were running as enforcers for the mob within the NYPD. And what's even crazier is that Nick Tartaglione was at one point cellmate and the last person to ever see him alive that we know of. And real quick, if you like my videos and you want to see more in-depth writing from me about pop culture, movies, TV, video games, weird historical facts, so on and so forth, you can do that here.
Wow, what an interesting story. I mean, if that's not like something out of a movie, I don't know what is. Gee whiz. Dude is talking the truth and then he gets... And it's crazy how no one would believe him, you know, because people believe in the integrity of the police in a way. And also, you know, they're the biggest gang in the world, as we say, right? Wow, very crazy. And plus with that final connection with that dude that had that island. Wow. So he's the last person to have seen him. I mean, if you ask me, he'd be the perfect person to help out to carry out something that would be under the radar, let's say. Anyways, I have no proof. I make no claims. This is for entertainment purposes only. So please, YouTube, I appreciate you. Let's keep on rocking.
Internet's revenge on the man who invented spam mail is the most iconic thing I have ever heard. In the early 2000s, Alan Ralsky was one of the world's biggest spammers, blasting up to 1 billion junk emails a day. He made millions of dollars from it and was super cocky. He openly bragged to reporters about his empire and proudly called himself the godfather of spam. But in one interview, boasting as usual, he showed off the massive new mansion he bought with his spam money. And that was his mistake. People online found his new home address and thousands banded together to get their revenge. They signed Alan up for every sweepstakes, promotion, all the junk mailing list they could possibly find. Within days, he was receiving hundreds of pounds of junk mail a day. And inside that pile of junk mail was his real mail, so he had to go through it. He later complained in another interview saying, quote, "They've signed me up for every advertising campaign. These people are out of their minds. They're harassing me."
Seriously, what does failure mean? It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. What does it mean?
Pulling the Jedi mind trick on me
I'm
right now. I was
serious.
like, does it exist?
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how can I explain it? So, let's use happy endings, right? And then we can relate this to failure and why it's not existent. Like, you know, everybody talks about, like, everybody wants a happy ending, right? Now let's go to the reality of it, right? Let's look at a fairy tale story. Let's look at Snow White. She gets a happy ending. She finds Prince, whatever. She goes on. She lives happily ever after. Well, I call bullshit on that because 2 months later, the fact is they had an argument and he's sleeping on the couch. Right? So the point is, the story continues. The story continues. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that. Right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, you know, if I fail today, okay, I'm going to learn something from that failure, and I'm going to try again on Tuesday. And I fail, and I'm going to try again on Wednesday. So it doesn't exist.
You know what? Should my ratings go in the tank? That's exactly what I'm going to say to the boss. Hey, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you know what?
We should try it again on Thursday.
If your ratings go in the tank, and you know, which they won't, but if they did, you had learned a valuable lesson. You had learned a bunch of ways of how not to make a show that sucks. So then the next one will be better than the last one, right?
So are you telling me then, let's just say all the career statistics that you've compiled, they all still exist, still play for the Lakers, still, and all of that still happens. If you finished your career without a championship, you would not have looked at that as a failure?
No, I would have looked at it as being extremely disappointed because I had a dream and I had goals that I wanted to accomplish, right? And if I don't accomplish those goals, I have to ask myself why, right? So from my position, the reason why I would not have accomplished those things is poor leadership, failure to communicate properly with my teammates to put them in positions to be successful, lack of preparation. You know, all those things would be reasons why I don't win, right? So now, if that was the case, in my career, I have to sit and I have to analyze that. And then as I move and I evolve, you know, post-basketball into business or whatever, those same weaknesses are going to reveal themselves there, right? So if I don't learn from that, I'm going to struggle here too, right? So I can take those situations and learn from those and have them, you know, make me a better person later in life. But if I don't take that stuff and apply that someplace else, then that's failing, which to me is the worst possible thing you could ever have, is to stop and to not learn.
So the winner.
Very good message. I really like the way he handled that question and the way he explained it. And there is a saying when the billionaires, you know, a lot of the billionaires that made a lot of money that are now successful, they often say that they've went bankrupt a few times. And I guess if they would have seen it as a failure and then on Wednesday they would have quit and just went and worked for someone else, I guess it never would have made it. So I guess it's all a question of perspective. And as a parallel, I mean, using proper words and positive words has an effect. It's very interesting because he's talking about one word, but there's also the word stress or the word depression or the word, I mean, there's so many words that nowadays just rolls off your tongue because everyone is a victim, everyone is feeling some type of way or disadvantaged or this or that. But in reality, I mean, what is stress? You know, what is depression? It's something that you accept in your mind and that you create as an anchor or as a habit. So in my mind, if every time I would say I'm stressed, I would say time to breathe, and then I would concentrate on my breathing and try to gain control, I find that gives control in my life. It gives me power in my life. So using the word stress makes me feel like I'm under the weight. I don't know if you guys understand my distinction, but it's just the way that we use words has an effect on us long term. So if you keep using the word, oh, I'm depressed, that's exactly what you will become. Because in my mind, depression is a depressive thought that is on repeat. And then it creates the state of depression. But to be in a state of something, you need to actively reinforce it, repeat it, and use it as a habit before it sticks. So you could do that on the negative side, and you could do that on the positive side as well. So very interesting. I'm very happy to have listened to that interview from Kobe. I find it's super inspiring, and I hope that you guys can see it was a bit vague, and I'm not finding quite the right words to describe what I'm saying. So if you have any questions, please write them down below, and let's keep on rocking.
Causing a traffic jam. Do they just like...
I don't know. I just pulled out of the garage and I saw this going on. It's like this Waymo standoff. Yeah, I'm just trying to get out of here, but...
This is so funny. Oh, because they hit each other.
Yeah, kind of. But still, they're just gonna like stay there forever? Do we need to like, can we call them?
Well, we can call enforcement over here. We can scan and call. Cars is stuck. Cars is stuck. This is so funny.
Digital is the biggest step towards the surveillance state this country has ever faced in my lifetime. If any government wants access to every detail of your life, they are the ones who should be feared. We live in a country where the state can't even run a basic IT system without losing data or leaking personal details. It won't last a week before a mountain of sensitive personal data is left at a bus stop in Kent again. I do not trust any government. I certainly do not trust this government. And let us remember, once government gets a new power, it never gives it back. It expands and evolves. Digital ID will not stop at proving who you are. It will creep into travel, banking, housing, benefits, even voting. Today it's voluntary, tomorrow it will be required for security reasons. The day after that, you won't be able to access basic services without it, all for your own good, remember. It's supposed to be a country where the government serves the people, not the other way around. A country built on privacy, liberty and trust. People just want the government to leave them alone and get out of their lives, to build a business, raise a family and live in peace. Digital ID treats every citizen as a suspect. It assumes that the state has the right to look over your shoulder. You defend it by severely limiting the power of the state, not radically expanding it. Abolishing jury trials, cancelling elections, implementing facial recognition.
Yeah, this whole digital ID thing is kind of scary. And as a parallel, when you look at Australia, they're saying that they want to put a age limit. So basically, if you're 16 and under, you can't have access to social media, which in a way I agree with because the kids are obviously being brain rotted. But, you know, what they will use that for is probably to create a barrier to entry to be able to enter. So it's not the kids that are going to basically have to do something. It's the adults that are going to have to prove that they're adults. So in other words, it would be like having a MAC address associated with your social media account, which is a unique identifier. So basically everything you do online will be tracked, categorized, and easier to turn into data. That's first. Second of all, we can't forget the saying that says freedom for security. Well, now it's freedom and privacy in the name of security. But like he said, by going digital, aren't we opening ourselves up to risks of security? So it seems like a Ouroboros, it seems like a circle that basically never ends because the more we put ourselves online, the more it's accessible for hackers. So I'm having a hard time to understand the logic behind it. But we did have an event, the COVID, not too long ago that seemed to be like a test run towards this. So I truly want to know what you guys think. Is this something that you think is for the great, the betterment of the human condition? Or do you think this is a secondary power structure? Are we going to try to do a transition between, let's say, what our legal framework is? Because as we create a new ID, we're going to have to create new laws. So as we create new laws, do we trust the people that are there to have our best intentions at heart? Or should we just cancel the project and return to Constitution? It's a question that I'm asking you, and I would really appreciate your time right down below. And if not, no worries. We reached the end, so thank you so much for rocking with us. And that's a wrap for today, familia. Whether you're tuning in with the sunrise or you're posted up after midnight, I appreciate your time, your energy, your curiosity. And don't forget, this isn't about truth or fiction. This is about perspective. If this sparked a laugh, a thought, a deeper question, then we did our job. So drop your thoughts in the comments, keep the convo alive, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you're riding a wave, because we're just getting started. So until next time, stay grounded, stay weird, stay critical. I'm Adam Strain, and this has been Adam Strain Reacts. Peace.
I don't know what y'all think, but now's the time for us to link up. Really think we on the brink of making a change from living this strange. Living this strange.